Namo. Thanks so much for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The fourth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and to relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I'm determined to speak truthfully with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news I do not know to be certain, and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or the community to break. I'm determined to make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. For our Dharma lessons, we're reading More Than Mindfulness, Widening the Field of Practice by the Monastics of the Thai Forest Sangha. Today we're continuing in a talk by Ajahn Sona called Focused Attention, Panoramic Awareness. All kinds of skills and capacities may develop. You will hear and experience life, reality, and relationships in a different way if you start doing these mindfulness exercises. You will start training your mind to pay attention in a systematic way. If you keep this up, you will have surprising results in other areas. You will notice things you didn't notice before. You will see other people's motives in a new light. And you'll also see other people's minds. Quite often in a so-called conversation with another person, there are two people engaging in soliloquies. Instead of a dialogue, there's just two people, each one talking to themselves. This is a characteristic particularly of our time, that people's attention spans, as many have noted, seem to be reduced. The art of conversation also seems to occur in a very primitive, unsatisfactory form. That is because we can't sustain attention long enough to hear what the other person says and then have the appropriate sense to respond to what the other person said. So you see this fragmentation happening. Perhaps only sati is working, and only sati about your own life is working. So there is no sampajanya in the dialogue. It's very interesting to look at some of the perception tests that they give in cases of schizophrenia. They will show the person some letters, say a capital H and a capital A on a page, but the letters are made from numbers, tiny little numbers, almost like pixels, are what give shape to these letters. Then they ask them, what do you see? And they see only the numbers. They don't see the prominent shape of the letter. You can see the mind is not doing two things. It's doing only one thing. It sees the details but doesn't put them together. It doesn't see the broader picture, doesn't see the letters. We have a well-used saying in English, you don't see the forest for the trees. You see the trees, but you don't see the forest. The forest is the letters, the trees are the numbers. In fact, a forest and tree are inseparable, and they interact. And that is what's going on in life. In order to have wisdom, you need to cultivate both of these things. You need to pay more attention to be able to sustain attention on the details, but you also need a context for those details. You need a bigger picture. Why am I doing this? What is the point of this attention? Is there a difference between a person who walks on a tightrope 100 feet above the ground and a person doing walking meditation? A tightrope walker must pay close attention. Is there a difference between that and walking meditation? Yes. The tightrope walker's attention is not at the service of something. It's not at the service of the larger picture of life. It's not at the service of wisdom. It's not at the service of sampajanya. When we do our meditation exercises, they must always be in the context that these are strengthening exercises for our attention. They are directing our attention to certain vital realities that we must understand. We must not only understand them theoretically, but we must understand them to the marrow of our bones. How do you understand something to the marrow of your bones? It becomes second nature. Your relationship to these things is not merely abstract, but you're in harmony. What you say and how you feel are one. You're not capable of hypocrisy. Lots of people say things that they don't believe. Your theoretical view of life is harmonized with how you actually feel about it. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Namo Adida Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.